There's an invisible chain binding most of humanity. A shackle not of iron, but of ideas, of values instilled from early childhood. It's called slave morality, a system of beliefs designed to maintain weakness, subservience, and mediocrity. This isn't a history lesson. It's an urgent warning, a cry of indignation resounding in a world asleep in self-deception. You are living in a society where the values of the weak are celebrated, where individual striving is suppressed by fear and the approval of the majority. Do you feel a vague impulse, a longing to break free from restraints you can't name? That's the voice of the will to power, struggling against the shackles of slave morality. Face this truth most ruthlessly. Look directly at the signs that society is enslaving you, that you are imprisoned by a system that doesn't serve your greatness. The first and most destructive sign of slave morality is living for the approval of others. You fear criticism, crave praise, and adjust your behavior according to what society expects. Your life turns into a grand play where you constantly act a role to please the audience around you. The fear of judgment. The fear of judgment is an invisible rope tightening around your throat, preventing you from speaking the truth, from living authentically. You live in constant dread of being ridiculed, ostracized, or seen as different. This fear is the root of cowardice, causing you to abandon bold ideas, grand dreams, just to fit into the mediocre framework society has set. You'd rather die slowly in silence than face the scrutinizing gaze of those around you. This is a form of spiritual suicide, a denial of your own creative power. The insane need for praise. You crave praise like an addict craves their next fix. Every compliment is a temporary dopamine hit, making you forget the emptiness inside. You work not for a higher purpose or personal growth, but for the desire for recognition, for reassurance. This turns you into a slave to public opinion, a puppet dancing to the cheers of the crowd. True glory doesn't come from others' approval, but from self-affirmation, from knowing you've lived true to your highest values, conforming your behavior to the majority. You constantly change yourself to fit the standards and trends created by the majority. You dress like others, talk like others, even think like others. Your individuality is eroded, your will stifled. You become a faded copy, a part of the flock meekly following a pre-drawn path. Slave morality teaches you that safety lies in conformity, that difference is a threat. But Superman, who transcends that morality, understands that greatness only arises from uniqueness, from daring to stand alone against the current. The second sign of slave morality is seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance, of fate, of others. You blame everything external, from family and society to objective conditions, for your failures and misfortunes. Endless complaining. You complain about everything: difficult work, unfair life, others not understanding you. Complaining is the sound of weakness, the cry of a soul imprisoned in self-pity. It solves nothing, only exacerbates your powerlessness. The weak find comfort in complaining because it helps them avoid personal responsibility. But Superman knows that complaining is a waste of energy, a surrender of one's own power. Blaming others and circumstance. You never take responsibility for your mistakes. Every failure is due to others, to the system, to fate. Blaming is a cowardly defense mechanism that helps you avoid facing the truth that you are solely responsible for your life. It turns you into a puppet manipulated by external factors, someone incapable of determining their own destiny. Slave morality encourages this irresponsibility because it keeps you in a low, dependent position, not daring to change. When you believe you're a victim, you see no reason to change. You feel helpless, stuck, and resigned to fate. This mindset is a prison wall, preventing you from rising, from discovering your true potential. You adapt to mediocrity, making weakness your identity. Superman never accepts the role of victim. They are the creator of their own destiny, the one who takes full responsibility for all actions and outcomes. This is one of the most pathological aspects of slave morality. It inverts all values, turning weakness into virtue and seeing strength as a sin. Blindly promoting compassion. Compassion without discernment can become a weakness. Slave morality teaches you to pity the weak, protect the failures, and belittle those who are strong and successful. It creates a society of equals in mediocrity, where excellence is pulled down so as not to hurt the feelings of the less capable. Compassion becomes a tool to suppress striving, to maintain a state of stagnation, despising excellence and success. When you witness the success of others, instead of being inspired, you feel envy and resentment. You try to belittle them, seek their flaws, or attribute their success to luck or dishonesty. This is the envy of the weak, who dare not rise but cannot tolerate the greatness of others. Slave morality propagates the idea that we are all equal. But equality here is equality in inferiority. Worshipping safety over risk. You avoid all risks, all ventures. You choose the safe, stable path, even if it doesn't lead to true growth or success. Safety becomes an idol, a reason never to step out of your comfort zone. You live a meaningless life, without challenge, without glory. Superman, conversely, craves risk, because they understand that greatness only arises from daring to venture into the unknown, from overcoming limits. In a world controlled by slave morality, humans become slaves to fleeting desires and pleasures, neglecting long-term goals and self-development. Addiction to short-term pleasure. You seek immediate gratification through social media, video games, fast food, or other trivial pleasures. You cannot delay enjoyment, cannot tolerate discomfort even for a moment. These short-term pleasures are sedatives, paralyzing your will and your ability for long-term thinking. They trap you in an endless loop of emptiness and regret. Lack of ability to delay gratification. Delaying gratification is a sign of willpower, of your ability to prioritize long-term goals over momentary desires. But slave morality teaches you that you deserve everything instantly, that you don't need to work hard or sacrifice to achieve your goals. This creates a weak, impatient generation, incapable of building anything of value. Living without clear purpose. When you are dominated by immediate desires, your life becomes aimless. You drift along the current of pleasures, without clear goals, without a specific direction. Each day passes without real growth or meaning. This is a life of waste, a betrayal of your own great potential. Superman has a clear purpose, a grand vision, and they are willing to sacrifice momentary pleasures to achieve that goal. The final and perhaps most dangerous sign of slave morality is the confusion of genuine kindness with weakness, with spinelessness. Believing good is always easy. Slave morality defines good as ease, non-confrontation, and politeness to the point of being unprincipled. You're afraid to say no, afraid to displease others, even when it goes against your best interests or higher values. You become easily exploited, someone without a backbone, only bowing to every pressure. Kindness without strength is meaningless. Fearing decisiveness and strength. You see decisiveness as aggression, strength as oppression. You admire gentleness, humility, even when they lead to mediocrity and stagnation. You don't dare to assert yourself. Don't dare to fight for what you believe in. This turns you into a sheep in the flock, ready to be led by anyone with a stronger will. Superman understands that strength is necessary to create value, to protect what is noble, and to rise. Strength is not for oppression, but for creation. Avoiding conflict at all costs. You shy away from all conflict, all arguments. You accept everything to maintain a false peace, even when that peace means suppressing truth or denying justice. Conflict, when resolved constructively, can lead to truth, understanding, and growth. But slave morality teaches you that conflict is bad and you must avoid it at all costs. This makes you weak, incapable of facing the real challenges of life. Have you recognized these signs in yourself? If so, that's good news. Awareness is the first step to liberation. Now is the time to act. Awaken the will to power. You must find the will to power within yourself. It is the fire that craves greatness, growth, and self-overcoming. Listen to that voice and let it guide you. The will to power is an affirmation of your existence, a declaration that you are the master of your own life. It's not an external imposition, but an inner force that needs to be unleashed and cultivated. Abandon the slavery of public opinion. Don't live for others' approval. Live true to yourself, to the values you have chosen for yourself. Criticism will come, but it cannot harm you if you are firm in your beliefs. True freedom lies in not fearing the judgmental gaze of others. Take full responsibility for your life. Stop complaining. Stop blaming. You are solely responsible for everything in your life. Pain, failure, and challenges are not injustices. They are opportunities for you to grow and become stronger. When you accept this responsibility, you will reclaim the power to determine your own destiny. Honor strength and excellence. Crave strength, not to oppress, but to create. Admire excellence, not to envy, but to learn from and be inspired by. Society needs strong individuals, those who dare to rise and create true value. You must become one of them. Redefine kindness. Kindness is not weakness. Genuine kindness is a combination of strength and compassion. It's having the courage to say no when necessary, to fight for truth, and to protect noble values. Become a strong, kind person, someone who can make a real difference. This life is not a place for you to live in mediocrity and regret. It is a stage for you to manifest your great will, to overcome limits, and to become the highest version of yourself. Slave morality has tried to hold you back, to suffocate your will. But now, you've seen those chains. You've recognized the enemy. Do you dare to break them? Do you dare to stand up? To live a life full of meaning and power, a life unbound by anything but your own will? The choice is yours. Act now. Become your own master.